Welcome back then guys to this live stream. It is now time for the feature race for IFMC GP2. It is 29 laps of action, not 32 as I said yesterday. I do apologise, it is 29 laps. And well, we are here for hopefully a very exciting race. If you didn't see what happened in qualifying yesterday, it was Felix Rosenqvist on his final flying lap. He managed to grab pole position ahead of Lando, Norris and Pierre. The top three separated in the end by 0.3 of a second, so it was quite close in the end, with Felix being 0.3 in front of Norris. So it was quite close between Norris and Gasly, but Rosenqvist managed to pull a lap out of nowhere to grab the pole position in the end, ensuring that both Red Bull academies are in the top four for the race, and they're hoping that they can, in their first attempt, grab the victory in the feature race. We have 29 laps of action here at Bahrain. So before we start then guys, let's mute this, turn this up a little, and let's have a look at the grid for today's feature race here in Sakhir. Here we go then, so on pole position, it is Felix Rosenqvist with Lando Norris in second, Pierre Gasly is in third with George Russell in fourth position. Mick Schumacher lines up in fifth with Mitch Evans in sixth position in the VorteX Racing car. Nyck de Vries starts in seventh with Alex Lynn in eighth position. Luca Giotto starts in ninth in the EMR, alongside him Lance Stroll running at the top 10 in the GRM. Sergei Sorokin is in 11th with Sean Galile in 12th position. Sacha Fenestraz is in 13th, Jolyon Palmer in the Willows Grand Prix car in 14th position. Santiago Uichi 15th, Norman Nato a disappointing 16th. Dan Ticktum starts 17th, Louis Razia in 18th position. 19th is Joel Eriksson. 20th is Nobuhiro Matsushita on his return to the GP2 series. Yuri Vips starts in 21st, and starting in last today will be Lucas Jura in the VorteX Racing car. And that is the grid for the feature race here in Bahrain. So there is the grid then guys for the feature race here in Sakhir, with the weather of course being bright and sunny. So leave your predictions, but without further ado, let's get to the feature race. So here we are then on the grid. It's Rosenqvist on the right, Norris on the left. Who's going to get the lead into turn one as we wait for the 5 red lights to go off to signify the start of the race here in Sakhir? 1 light is on, 2 lights are on, 3 lights are on, 4 lights are on, 5 lights are on, and the GP2 Season 4 Championship is underway, and it seems to be a good start from Rosenqvist. Nice try to tuck into his slipstream down the straight there. Gasly also tucking in as well, looking for any opportunity. Evans has got a good start, he's up to 5th. Everybody trying to find their way through. Russell's got a good start as Norris tried to dive it down the inside of Rosenqvist, and he takes the lead. Norris leads in Sakhir. He takes the lead from Rosenqvist. Russell up to second, he gets a place of his teammate. It's not a good start from Rosenqvist. Evans trying to get alongside Gasly. Very close to contact between the pair then, but Gasly gets the edge. Gasly holds on to 4th place as he goes for the first couple of corners. Stroll's had a good start, he's up to 6th. Schumacher down to 7th at the start. Sorokin up to 10th place. Giotto's had a terrible start as they head down towards the right-hander now. Then as Stroll looks down the inside of Evans, as de Vries also at the same time looking at his teammate. Side by side go the 2 GRMs as he passed Schumacher for 7th, but unable to do so, and Lance keeps the place as they head in towards these corners. But it is Norris that leads the race, from Russell in 2nd, Rosenqvist 3rd, Gasly right behind him 4th, Evans 5th, Stroll in 6th, de Vries in 7th, with Schumacher 8th, Sorokin up to 9th, Lynn 10th, Giotto 11th, Nato 12th, Palmer 13th, Razia 14th, Galal 15th, Uichi 16th, Ticktum 17th, Fenestraz 18th, Matsushita 19th, Jura 20th, Eriksson 21st, and Vips bring up the rear in 22nd position. It's Norris who leads, but Russell trying to hunt down his fellow compatriot for the lead of this race as they now head down the hill towards the right hand, and now then Russell trying to pile the pressure on Lando Norris if he can now then as they head in towards the hairpin now then for the first time today. And now out the corner they go now then. Russell looking like he got a lot more traction there than what Norris did, but Norris still able to get a decent gap in front of Russell as they head in towards the left-hander now then. Everybody just slotting in at this stage of the race as they now head in towards the double left-hander. Vips as mentioned bring out the rear, but Russell looking to the inside of Norris. He's got a lot more traction than what his fellow compatriot did. Can Russell grab the lead from Norris? Down the inside he goes, and he does so. Russell takes the lead here in Sakhir. It was fun while it lasted, but Norris has lost the lead and Russell takes the lead. But having said that, Norris still sticking with his fellow compatriot as he headed towards the second last corner, and still staying single file. Maybe try and get him down the back straight if he can, if he stays within his slipstream now. Then Norris in the slipstream of George Russell. Can he grab the lead back off George Russell now? Then he tried to look to the inside. Russell closing the door in towards the last corner there. Nice, still there. Still finds another gap down the inside. Dives it down the inside just like he did on Rosenqvist at the start. And Norris retakes the lead from George Russell. Norris back in front at this stage, and now Rosenqvist wants a piece of his teammate if he can. So at the end of the first lap then of 29, it's Norris who leads, Russell second, Rosenqvist third, Gasly fourth, Evans fifth, Stroll sixth, De Vries seventh, and Schumacher running at the top 8 at the moment. Schumacher trying to get into the position in De Vries if he can for P7 as he head in towards turn 1 now then. And wow, what a very exciting lap that was then from Lando Norris and George Russell. Russell, as he just said there, sets the fastest lap of the race. At this stage of the race, Russell now then going up towards the right hand. There's a bit of a gap now for him between Norris and Russell as a result, as Russell's having to possibly fend off now from Felix Rosenqvist as he now through the right hander now then. As Gasly now trying to catch back up to Rosenqvist if he can, trying to get that podium off the Swedish driver if he can, but he's also dragging Evans as well in the VorteX car as they now head in towards the chicane for the first time today. And meantime, De Vries catching back up to teammate Stroll for 6th place. And Sorokin's up to 8th. He's past Schumacher. So up to P8 goes Sergei Sorokin. He gets himself into the points after only qualifying 11th yesterday. So Sorokin making his way up through the field at this stage. And we don't really need to talk about the fuel loads because everybody has to do a one stop in the end anyway. There's kind of like a pit window for these sorts of races anyway. So they pit roughly around about the same time as each other. So that's that then really, but I would expect the mandatory pit stops. As you can see, Russell's running quite light at the moment, so I expect them to start around about, well, I'd say around about lap 9 at the earliest. We'll see the mandatory pit stops come into an effect in this race. So it looks like they're throwing the pit stops out quite early in this race then, it appears, as Rosenqvist still unable to close it to Russell, as Russell's now losing time to leader Norris, who's now starting to pull away at the front of the field in his Lightbase Sony racing car, as he now goes flat out through the right hander now then, as he will now heading towards the second to last corner. Gasly now then starting to close up onto the back of the 2 Red Bull Academies in front of him at the moment. It looks like an Academy and Red Bull rivalry has been reunited here in GP2. Remember the good old rivalry these two had in the top class before Red Bull Audi pulled out at the end of Season 2. It looks like it must have come back now that Gasly's doing the honours for Academy now then as they head out of the final corner, and Gasly trying to get into the position of Rosenqvist. Not quite close enough that time around. Same with Rosenqvist. Not quite close to the back of Russell at this stage at the moment. As we're now on lap 3 of 29 here at Sakhir, as they now enter in towards turn 1. Norris still leading the race at this stage as he flicks the car in towards turn 1 then. Russell in second place at the moment, Rosenqvist third, and Gasly looked like he had a lot more traction than what Rosenqvist did. Probably a better exit, but looked like Rosenqvist was just able to squirt out the throttle out of that corner there. He's also, as mentioned, dragging Mitch Evans into that fight. So meantime on team by the camera, Schumacher back up to 8th. He's past Sorokin as now Lynn looks to the inside of Sorokin for P9. Can Lynn get the job done on Sorokin? No, not quite. Giotto trying to fancy his chances of trying to get Lynn if he can for P10. Unable to do so. And Lynn currently in an EMR sandwich at this stage of the race. As we go through the right hander now then. And Gasly trying his best to get the podium off these two if he can, trying to stay within the slipstream, same as Evans right behind these guys at the moment, but it is still Norris who leads, and he's still pulling away from the rest of the pack at this stage quite comfortably out in front as he looks to try and take the first win of Season 4 in IFMC GP2 as Norris flicks the car through the right hander now then, using as much curb on the outside as possible. As meantime now then, Rosenqvist starting to fall back now a bit now from George Russell, maybe down to the lighter fuel that Russell is carrying compared to teammate Rosenqvist, as we go out of that left-hander. And having saying that, Gasly looking like he's piling pressure on as well. It looks like Russell and Gasly are on similar strategies, so both of them running quite light into this race at the moment, looking to see if they can make their strategies work either way as they now negotiate through the left-hander. Gasly doing everything he can to get Russell in this race, as the 2 GRMs behind them are still entertaining each other for P6 at this stage of the race, as now they go through the second to last corner. Gasly trying his best to get Rosenqvist, and he got a little bit closer out of that second to last corner. He might try and line him up perhaps for a pass down at the pit straight if he's able to get late onto the brakes compared to the Swedish driver, the Frenchman. Round the final corner he goes. Can he get Rosenqvist for that final podium place as we head out of the final corner onto the pit straight? Gasly, is he in Felix's slipstream now then as he head down the pit straight? Norris now sets the fastest lap at 2 minutes 7.816 for Lando Norris now then as you see there, Rosenqvist feeling the pressure. He's having to go a bit defensive as Gasly and Evans are piling the pressure on him at this stage. So that's that really in terms of that fight at this stage now then. There's meantime on team by the cameras. Vries has taken the place of Stroll just at the exit of turn 1 there. I think we just about saw it. Vries up into 6th place then. And he gains the place off him in a moment. Problems for Schumacher. Schumacher's got a problem. It's a transmission problem for Mick Schumacher. One Ecademy is pulled off to the side of the track. Such a shame after a brilliant qualifying session for the teenage German. It's all come to naught. Mick Schumacher, the first retirement of the season. And we're down to 21 runners here at Sakhir. As Danny inside there goes one of the LRD cars on Lucas Euro. I think that was in the VorteX Racing car. Whilst they've also got Yuri Vips for company right behind. But Mick Schumacher out of the race, and we're down to 21 runners in this race now then. So now Gasly, the only Ecademy left to do it for their honour. So now we'll just flick through the chicane. So now we go up towards the hairpin on the track. Gasly trying his best to get Rosenqvist under braking if he can as he exits out of that right hand, and now then up towards the double left. And Gasly braking late as possible in towards that left hand. There we go. Gasly really trying to get Rosenqvist in front. Can he get... He's getting closer to his slipstream, but so far he's just not been able to get really a break in getting past him. But again, Rosenqvist going very defensive through into there, and it's brung Gasly just that tad bit closer now. And now Rosenqvist is prone now for an attack from Pierre Gasly as they now approach the flat-out right-hander on the track now. They're running on board with Gasly, staying single file for the time being, and now maybe potentially going to line up Rosenqvist for a pass down this back straight towards the final corner now. Then Gasly in the slipstream now. Then Felix Rosenqvist, is he going to get the place? He looks to the inside. Is he going to get the third place off Rosenqvist? No, Rosenqvist shutting the door there on Pierre. Pierre tucks back into his slipstream to maybe try and get him onto the pit straight. So very good defensive tactics there from Felix Rosenqvist as we now head down the pit straight. Norris again setting the fastest lap at 2 minutes 7.728. He's setting fastest lap after the fastest lap the race leader is. And Gasly this time around unable to get the pass done on Rosenqvist in towards turn 1 there. So that's that really as far as they are concerned. Norris now then out of turn number 3 we go. He's still got quite a bit of a lead in front of George Russell, who's currently in second place, still looking for his first victory in IFMC GP2. Norris did that last season at the last race in Abu Dhabi, and so far it looks like it may have continued on here this season as he looks to make it 2 victories in a row from season 3 to season 4. And so that's pretty much that really, and Norris able to do it with his first outing as a Lightbase Sony racing driver. Last season he was part of Mars Grand Prix, but now they've moved to the top class. Norris now part of Lightbase Sony Racing, and so that's that for them really, as they now through the left-hander we go. And Norris still leading the race at this stage of the race, and on lap 5 of the race, around about 4 laps time, we should be seeing the mandatory pit stops come into effect, just due to how light Gasly and Russell are running into this race. And Gasly still sticking with him in the moment. They've both left Evans behind for dust at this stage, as Vries is now starting to close up on the keyway at the moment. As Lynn's up to 8th place, he's past Sorokin, so Lynn now finds himself into the points in the Macamo, back into the points after qualifying 8th yesterday. So up into P8 goes Alex Lynn for his first outing as a Panasonic Macamo driver, as now the 2 EMRs will scrap it out for P9. Giotto all over the backside of Sergei Sorokin at this stage now then, as they head down the back straight now then. Russell currently in second place at the moment. Gasly looks like now he's starting to lose a little bit of time now to Rosenqvist. Rosenqvist has got a bit of a gap now in front of Pierre Gasly as they now go flat out through the right-hander now then, and up towards the second to last corner we will go. And now exiting out of the corner now then, as meantime now then Sorokin going very defensive from his teammate fancying his chances at 9th place off the EMR now then, and he's got a bad exit. Sorokin, Giotto looking to the inside, may have to tuck back into his slipstream because he isn't getting alongside Sergey at this stage unless he can outbrake him into the final corner. I bet that's what he's planning. Giotto late on the brakes, down the inside, and he takes Nyck from his teammates. Up to P9 goes Luca Giotto in the EMR, and he passes Sorokin as a result with flying colours, as Nato, who's trying to make his way through the field now, tries to catch up. But having saying that, Sorokin back on the prowl of his teammate, trying to grab the place off Giotto again. Giotto going very defensive, but Sorokin flicks it back to the inside into turn 1 there, not phased by the defence. Down the inside goes Sorokin, but Giotto's still there, and Giotto somehow able to keep 9th place, and now Nato finding himself in this battle. And the two Willows Grand Prix cars could even get close to this fight as well. Nato all over the backside now then of Sergei Sorokin. Will he take 10th from the Russian? Down the inside goes Nato, and he does so. Up to 10th place goes Norman Nato. He now finds himself in the EMR sandwich as he now tries to get onto the back of Luca Giotto's EMR now then. So Rosenqvist now then through the right hander he will go. As meantime Norris still leading the race at the moment. We're on lap 6 of 29 here at Sakhir in these early stages of the race. Out the corner we will go as Norris prepares to go up towards the right hander. Out of the corner he will go, using as much curb on the left hand side as possible, as he will now approach the double left hander on the track. And into the left goes Norris. And so far then, after lap 6, this is what the leaderboard looks like. It's Norris who leads, Russell 2nd, Rosenqvist 3rd, Gasly 4th, Evans 5th, De Vries 6th, Stroll 7th, Lynn in 8th, Giotto 9th, Nato in 10th, Sorokin 11th, Palmer 12th, Razzie 13th, Galal 14th, Urishia 15th, Fenestras 16th, Tictum 17th, Matsushita 18th, Ericsson 19th, Vips in 20th, and Yura down to 21st. And the only retirement was Mick Schumacher in the Ecademy after pulling off with transmission problems in the race. So we're down to 21 runners as a result. As Norris exits out of the second to last corner, he will now approach the final corner on the track. And Norris now then into the final corner, then goes the Brit into the final corner, and onto the pit straight we will go. And he will now cross the line to start lap 7 of 29 here. And around a couple of laps we'll see the mandatory pit stops start off, and he even sets another fastest lap, a 2 minute 7.601 there for Lando Norris. As now, as you can see, Lynn may be starting to close up on Lance Stroll in front for P7, as he looks to try and grab the points place off the teenage Canadian. As meantime now then, Sorokin now back on the prowl of Norman Nato, looking to try and grab back 10th off the Frenchman. He tucks up into his slipstream now then. Sorokin looking to the inside. Is Sorokin going to get the place back off Norman Nato? Breaking that a little bit later. Able to get the car just turned in, and Sorokin moves back up into 10th place. Grabs the place off Norman Nato, and Nato now finding himself under pressure from Jolyon Palmer's Willows Grand Prix car. Palmer now right onto the backside of Norman Nato. He looks into the inside. Will Palmer get the place off Nato now? Then down the inside goes the Brit, and he does so, I believe. Yes, he does. Up to 11th goes Jolyon Palmer. Razzie looking for any opportunity to follow through and pretty much have the assistance of his teammate Palmer, but unable to do so. Razzie has to tuck behind, and now Nato finds himself in a Willows Grand Prix sandwich as opposed to the EMR one he was in a little bit earlier on in the race. As Russell still in second place at the moment in the Red Bull Ecademy car now then. Currently in second place ahead of teammate Rosenqvist, as he now goes through the right-hander. Out the corner he will go as he tries to close back in to Lando Norris, who's well in control of this race at this stage of the race, and Russell hoping that his light fuel load will propel him a little bit closer to Norris after the pit stops. As we now head down the back straight now then towards the left-hander now then. Up towards the left-hander he goes, and so far just leading this race controllably at the front, as he now goes flat out through the right-hander. Up towards the second to last corner then goes Lando Norris, as he will head down the back straight towards the final corner. And pretty much at this point the top 8 have seemed to have separated themselves out. Well, I say that, Lynn is now caught right onto the backside of Stroll, As meantime, Danny inside goes Galio, unseen by the cameras. Nato retook the place of Palmer, and now Galio's through into 12 as an engine blowout for Palmer. That's why. Engine failure for Jolyon Palmer. It's going to be the second retirement of the day. Palmer suffers from an engine failure in the Willows Grand Prix car. Blew of it right into the face of Sakhir Fenestraz there. I believe it's Fenestraz, yes it is. And Palmer with engine failure. He will be pulling off onto the off the track quite soon, because the problem is too terminal for Palmer. As there's an overtake in front there. I think it involves his teammate, in fact, because it looked like a red car in the distance. And Willows are the only red car, I believe, in the field. But then again, we do have Gasly, but that's only got a little bit of red on the car. And the engine problem's getting worse for Palmer. You can see that plume of smoke. And I wonder if Lynn has actually got the place of Stroll. And no, he hasn't. Lynn's still behind Stroll at this stage. Stroll able to keep him behind at this stage. And Palmer now down to 20th now then. How he's still running, I don't know. But it will conk out, and it has done. Down at turn 1. Jolyon Palmer out of the race, and we're down to 20 runners as a result. 20 runners now left in the race. And, well, that's that really. He'll have to start 20 on the back row of Mick Schumacher tomorrow as a result of his retirement. So now we're down to 20 runners. Norris still leading the race out in front, but now he must get to this battle for 7th place at the moment. As Razia, in fact, lost the place to Galar. In fact, Razia running a tad bit wide into that corner. But meantime, now that we've got this battle for 7th between Stroll and Lynn to focus on as we go through these next few corners on the track. Then up towards the final corner will go Lynn. Has a little look there at Stroll, but isn't able to do so at this stage, as he will now approach the double left-hander on the track, and braking as late as possible just to get up close to Stroll if he can. Able to clearly, Stroll breaks that a little bit earlier in towards that second part of the double left-hander there, and enables Lynn just to get that tad bit closer to him. As you can see there, Lynn going quite defensive into that left-hander. Lynn doing whatever it is to get the place off him at the moment, and he gets himself just that tad bit closer now to the Canadian, able to now grab into his slipstream as a result. Up towards the second to last corner we will go. Giotto trying his best behind to close up onto this battle. As we now head down the back straight, will Lynn get the place off Lance Stroll now? Then he tucks up into his slipstream. He looks to the inside. Stroll going quite defensive as he does, but it's still quite a bit of a gap on the inside. Lynn decides not to take it as Norris sets another fastest lap of 2 minutes 7.363. As I think we're now on lap 9 of 29 here at Sakhir, so 21 laps to go, and I think the mandatory pit stops are about to start at this stage of the race now. Then Lynn now, can he try and get Stroll down in towards turn 1? Is he even close enough to the Canadian to mount an attack? Stroll goes defensive. Will Lynn flick it to the inside? He finds a gap down the inside, dives it down the inside. That's what Sorokin did earlier on Giotto, but isn't able to do so. Stroll sticks to his guns and keeps hold of 7th place at the time being. Giotto behind, unable to capitalise from that and get up close to those points places in front of him at this stage. So we look, and as you can see, as predicted, Russell is pitting this lap, as is Pierre Gasly. Both of them choosing to pit at the end of this lap. Evans also as well, as is Alex Lynn in 8th, hoping to leapfrog Stroll if he can. Anybody else pitting with those 4 guys? Yes, Yurishi is pitting as well. Lynn's teammate. Luckily, there's enough of a gap for those two to pit at the same time, so there shouldn't be a hold-up between the pair of them, hopefully, unless they do have to double stack. I don't know. There's a little bit of a mistake there from Euro as he tries to catch back up to the rest of the pack. Norris staying out because he's still got a couple more laps of fuel to burn left, as now Norris approaches that double left-hander on the track. And Russell hoping to see if he can try and get up close or even leapfrog his fellow compatriot for P number 1 in this race at the moment, as they now head down the back straight, well, the support straight towards the left-hander. We'll be seeing Russell going to the pits this lap now then, as he will now go up towards this right-hander. Flat out he will go. So now up towards the second to last corner then goes George Russell, as he will now head down the back straight towards the final corner. And so we'll be seeing him flicking his car to the right up towards the final corner. Then we go, and Russell will be going into the pits out the final corner onto the straight we go. And there you go, then he flicks the car to the right And into the pits comes George Russell for his mandatory pit stop, as Norris sets another fastest lap of 2 minutes 7.141. Norris still flying out in front of this stage. There's a lot of mechanics in, a VorteX and Ecademy mechanics as well. And we should be expecting the Macamo boys as well. As into his box he goes, he puts on a fresh set of tyres and fuel. As a quick wipe on the visor, he's now, I believe he's fueled to the end of the race, that looks like. And yes, he is fueled to the end of the race. And it is a 13.3 second stop for Russell. Lynn being served as Gasly's finished off his stop. And also in the box is Urisha, and he's had to double stack. A bad strategy call there for Macamo. As a result, Lynn having to be served first and then Urisha. And, well, a disaster there for Panasonic Macamo Motorsport as a result. And having to double stack both Alex and Santiago there. And, well, that's that then really. A 13.5 second stop for Urisha. As both of them rejoin at the back of the pack, Lynn and Urisha. So now we look at Lando. No, it's a big lock up there in towards that hairpin. Norris pushing hard. And is that the call that Russell needs to get up close to Norris in this race? As there's Felix Rosenqvist in this race. Rosenqvist still to make a stop at this stage. As anybody else pitting the end of this lap. Giotto is pitting this lap in 5th place. As is Sean Galio in the Hurley Trinity Racing car. And we'll also, is there anybody else pitting? Yep, Yuri Vips is pitting in his lap. He's right behind teammate Dan Ticktum at this stage. Russell rejoined 15th behind this battle, so that's not good as far as he is concerned. Gasly rejoined 17th, Evans 18th, 19th for Lane, and 20th for Urisha. So we will have a look at Giotto, who, as mentioned, is pitting at the end of this lap for his first stop of the afternoon. Well, his only stop of the afternoon, of course, for his mandatory pit stop. As Giotto now then flat through the right-hander he will go, as he will now approach the penultimate corner as he tries to get up close to Lance Stroll's GRM Junior. As he now heads down the back straight up towards the final corner he will go, riding on board with Luca Giotto. And now he approaches the final corner on the track, and we'll be seeing him flick his car to the right and to go into the pits. And Giotto now into the pits for his scheduled stop. And let's see how quick the stop's going to be then for Luca Giotto and the EMR mechanics as they are waiting in the pit lane for him. Giotto making his stop as he puts on a fresh set of tyres and fuel. A quick wipe of the visor. As Galio for Hurley Trinity Racing is now into the pits. He's having quite a decent race at the moment in that car. And it is a 12.9 second stop for Luca Giotto. As looks like the RSPCA racing mechanics are waiting for Yuri Vips to go into the pits, which he does. Vips is into the pits. And where's Giotto going to rejoin then? As he flicks off the pit limiter and he rejoins in 16th place. And can he get himself in front of Lynn because they go side by side through towards turn 1? Nope, Lynn still in front, but Giotto now a lot more closer to Lynn than he was previously. So Giotto can now try and get his foot down, try and grab what will be the final points place off Alex N, unless somebody on track who's going to leapfrog Len. Vips rejoins in last as Urisha gains a place as a result. De Vries is pitting this lap, the man who's currently in 3rd in the GRM as he exits out of the hairpin. As his teammate behind, Lance Stroll, currently 4th for the moment. He's not expected to pit for around about a few laps. As De Vries now then flicking the car through that left-hander. Rosenqvist also not expected to pit for another few laps yet in this race now then as De Vries approaches the left-hander. And the Dutchman flicking the car in. And so let's see then what De Vries will be able to do as he goes flat out through the right-hander up towards the second to last corner. Goes the young Dutchman heading down the back straight we go, heading up towards the final corner. And let's see what De Vries will be able to do then. Around the final corner onto the pit straight. Norris now sets another fastest lap of 2 minutes 7.092. And De Vries now into the pits. And now Rosenqvist takes that fastest lap away from him now. 2 minutes 7 dead. So that's that then really. Rosenqvist is now holding on to the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race at this stage. As De Vries now in for his mandatory stop. And let's see how quick the mechanics are on the GRM. There's a quick wipe on the visor there for Vries. And let's see where he's going to rejoin in after this pit stop. And it is a 12.5 second stop from the mechanics, as it looks like Sorokin's now into the pits. It looks like either Fenestraz or Ericsson will be in, and it is Joel Ericsson that goes into the pits. Where is Vries going to rejoin? And he rejoins in 12th place, in fact, just behind Pierre Gasly. So he's got a little bit closer now to Pierre, and in fact he's also leapfrogged Mitch Evans. So Vries has been able to get the jump on Evans and will be up to a provisional P5 at this stage. So Vries up into 5th place, Evans 13th at the moment. Giotto has passed Lynn, in fact, into turn 1, so up into what will be a provisional 8th place goes Luca Giotto. He passes Alex Lynn, and now Lynn facing the pressure of Giotto's teammate Sorokin. So the EMR is now applying the pressure on Lynn yet again in this race, as Ericsson rejoined 18th, just in front of Eurisia and Vips. And Norris is pitting this lap. He's actually left it quite late, in fact, he's only got 0.7 litres left in the tank. He should be able to get to the pits anyway. It's just about enough fuel to get him back into the pits, but he left that one quite tight, it must be said, and must have done some preservations during the laps that he was out on track, as he now heads out of the second to last corner now then. And Norris, as mentioned, will be pitting at the end of this lap. Rosenqvist staying out for an extra lap, so like Norris, leaving it quite tight with the fuel, it must be said. Probably staying out for an extra lap then intended, as Norris now goes through the final corner, and he will now pull into the box. Into the pits then goes Lando Norris for his mandatory pit stop. And let's see how quick the stop's going to be then for Lando, as his mechanics are waiting for him. There they are. As a quick change of tyres and fuel for him, as he will now be fueled to the end of the race. And let's see where Norris is going to rejoin then after this stop, and it is a 12.5 second stop. Where is Russell? Russell's just coming up towards the final corner, so I think Norris will still be in front as Matsushita and Razia go into the pits. There goes Nato, Norris's teammate, who's yet to stop. Norris rejoins in 4th place, and well, in fact it will be 5th place, because around the outside goes Fenestraz. So Norris rejoins just behind good friend Fenestraz, and but still in front of Russell by a long way, because he's got a car between himself and Norris in the form of Dan Ticktum's PCA racing car, and Ticktum is pitting at the end of this lap. And like a few guys on track, he's left the fuel quite late. Sorry about that, as mentioned there, Razia is into the pits. As now Danny inside goes Sorokin on Alex Lynn. Danny inside he goes, and he got the place off the Brit. Lynn trying to stick with him, not good enough. And up into 13th place there goes Sergei Sirotkin in the EMR, and now pulls a bit of a gap on Alex Lynn as a result. Razia rejoined in 15th, just in front of Galaio there. Galaio still in front of Masashita at this stage. Rosenqvist leads, but he is pitting at the end of this lap, and like Norris, has pretty much left the fuel quite tight, probably stayed out an extra lap longer than what intended, as now Rosenqvist will now approach the left-hander, and because of how held up Russell was, will Rosenqvist perhaps try and get the jump on Russell in the pits and move up into a provisional 2nd place in this race now then, as Rosenqvist approaches the flat-out right-hander. We'll be seeing him duck into the pits this lap as he goes through the second to last corner on the track now then. Up towards the final corner then goes the Season 3 IFMC GP2 Champion, as he will now approach the final corner. And let's see where what's going to happen to Rosenqvist. Into the pits then goes the Swedish driver on lap 13 of the race, and he'll be the one starting lap 14 of 29 here in Sakhir. And so he's now into the pits. We're near the halfway stage of the race here at Sakhir for GP2, and so Rosenqvist is into the pits. Stroll stays out to lead the race, but he's about to make a stop. Same for Nato, and somewhere on track is Norris. Norris should be back in front of Rosenqvist As a result, Rosenqvist finishes off his stop, and through will go Lando, Norris. Where is Russell on the track? Russell's just coming down the pit straight, and I think Rosenqvist will actually do enough to leapfrog him on track and move up to a provisional second place. He does so. Rosenqvist rejoins in 5th in front of George Russell. So Rosenqvist has leapfrogged his teammate, and he will be up to a provisional second place on the road now. Then Gasly losing time now to the 2 Red Bull Ecademy cars. And that's that then, really, as I think that said Tictum's into the pits, as is Jura. Those guys are in, making their pit stops, as guys will gain their places back. As a result, as Galileo approaches turn 1 on the track, as where's Tictum going to rejoin then after the stop, and Tictum rejoins in 16th place, just in front of Joel Eriksson, as Jura is going to rejoin, I believe, still in last place. No, in fact, he's just managed to get the jump on Vip. So Jura gets out of last place, and now Vip finds himself down into last place. Stroll leads, but as mentioned, he's yet to make a pit stop. And that's that then, really. And so Stroll then expected to make a stop. He's managed to a pit stop this lap, as is the guy behind him, Norman Nato, in the Lightbase Sony racing cars. He makes his way through the field to try and see if he can get up to the points after qualifying a disappointing 16th place yesterday in qualifying. As Stroll now then approaches the second to last corner on the track, and he will then approach the final corner. And so Stroll now then in towards the final corner, then goes the Canadian. And let's see what Stroll is able to do then, as he now heads into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. And where is Stroll going to rejoin then after the stop? As his GRM mechanics are waiting for him, and now the Lightbase Sony racing mechanics come out for Norman Nato, and it should give the lead back to Lando Norris as a result. And let's see what Stroll's pit stop is going to be. We're now on lap 15 of 29 here in Sakhir. So we're now past the halfway stage of this race, as it's an 11.7 second stop, but he's having to wait there because Sacha Fenestraz had just held up Stroll there in the pit, so that will not help him as a result. As through goes Norris and Rosenqvist, through will go Russell, and Gasly will just go through past his former teammate Lance Stroll, but it looks like Stroll's going to gain a lot in the pits, and in fact he does so, because Stroll rejoins in 5th, just in front of teammate Vries. So up to 5th place goes Lance Stroll there. Evans down to 7th. Nato rejoins in 8th, just in front of Giotto there. So Nato finds himself into the points. A brilliant comeback so far for the Frenchman. And, well, that's that then, really. And Nato now into the points as a result. Giotto will try and gain back onto him if he can, but that's that then, really, for them at the moment, as Giotto will have to try and get him now onto the track. As Sirotkin looking lonely in 10th, as after passing Lynn on the track a little bit earlier on. Fenestraz rejoining 12th, just in front of Louis Razier. So up to 12th place goes Sacha Fenestraz. As now, that's that, really, as Norris now then goes through the right-hander as he continues to lead the race out in front, with Rosenqvist now up to 2nd, as he will try and gain onto the lead if he can, with including this lap, 15 laps remaining in this this feature race, as we now go in towards the down the back straight. Now then we go, as Russell there, you can see there in the background, trying to catch back up to these guys if he can. Norris flicking the car through the left-hander, he will go, as he will now go flat out through the right-hander. And so that's that, really, as Norris now then goes through the second to last corner. And so Norris now then up towards the final corner. We will go out of the final corner and onto the pit straight, and we'll see now then what the gap is like between Rosenqvist and Norris now then, as he heads down the pit straight. And so let's see then what the gap is like between the top two, as we're now on lap 16 of 29, 14 laps to go here in Sakhir. I think all the mandatory pit stops have now been completed. Through in towards turn 1 we will go, and it's 3.5 seconds of the gap between Norris and Rosenqvist at this stage, so still quite a bit of gap for Rosenqvist to try and cut down, but he has him within his sight at the moment, and now he's trying his best to push hard to see whether he can gain onto Lando Norris at the moment. And so now he goes through into towards the chicane. Rosenqvist pushing as hard as possible. And let's see what's going on further down the field. Meantime, now look at Nato after making his pit stop. Now getting away from Giotto. Sirotkin's starting to close up onto Giotto again. Nato now starting to pile the pressure, it seems, onto Mitch Evans for P7 in this race as he now goes through the chicane. Through the double right-hander we will go. And through out of the corner now then, up towards the right-hander, using a lot of curb as possible. As he will now head down the hill towards the left-hander. As now we go through the chicane, and now up towards the hairpin we will go. Nato currently in 8th place at the moment, as now we got towards the double left-hander there on the track. As look like there, Nato getting a lot of oversteer out of that corner there, and that will not help him as far as he is concerned, so had to correct himself a little bit there. So he went a tad bit wide as a result. Pushing hard to get Evans in front and to get some more points on the board. Meantime, Stroll currently 5th, trying his best to close up onto 4th place man Pierre Gasly in front of him at the moment. The Ecademy driver lying in 4th place in this race. Norris still leading the race out in front at this stage as they now head down the pit straight towards turn 1 we go. And now let's see what the gap is like between the top two. Is Rosenqvist closing up? Last time around it was 3.5 seconds between the top two. Let's see now then as I go through turn 1. Has that been cut down by any margin through turns 2? And only by 1/10 though. It's down to 3.4 seconds. Rosenqvist only taking a 10th that time around off Norris in this race now then, as Rosenqvist will now go up towards the right-hander, and a big lock up there for Rosenqvist. He's pushing hard to get him at the moment. That was, I think, both front wheels there locking up as a result. And well, a lock up there for Rosenqvist as he pushes hard to get Norris in this race as he now negotiates through the right-hander. Russell 3rd, Gasly currently 4th at this stage as he flicks the car through the chicane. Out of the right-hander we will go, as he will now approach the right-hander, using a lot of curb there on the right-hand side, heading down the hill towards the left-hander. And Gasly now then through the chicane we will go, as he will now approach the hairpin on the track. And so out of the corner then goes Gasly. And maybe feeling a little bit of pressure seen from Stroll, but having saying that, Vries might want to try and close back in to Stroll because he's still within his grasp at this stage. Nato still trying to close to Evans, but clear that lock up. Well, that mistake has definitely cost him, and now Giotto is starting to close him back up now for that 8th place as he pushes hard to get some points for EMR on the board after what had been a tricky qualifying session for both the EMRs. Giotto qualifying 9th. And only 11th for Sergei Sirotkin in qualifying as they now approach the left-hander. Giotto getting close to the Frenchman at this stage as he will now approach the flat-out right-hander on the track. So now up towards the second to last corner we will go, as out the corner heading down the back straight towards the final corner. And so that's that really as far as they're concerned, as Dan Ticktum currently 16th at this stage. And so that's that really. Is now Lando Norris heads out of turn 3 now then. Rosenqvist currently in 2nd place as we now look at George Russell, who's now just losing time to the top 2 altogether at this stage. And I didn't see what the gap was like that time around between Rosenqvist and Norris. I missed that, so we'll look on lap 19 to see what is going on between the top 2 at this stage now then, as Rosenqvist approaches the left-hander. And we have 12 laps to go here in Sakhir. We're on lap 18 of 29 here in this feature race, as we've already made the mandatory pit stops, and now it's pretty much just a sprint to the finish. As a result, as we go through the left-hander, and so down the hill we will go. Rosenqvist now then really trying to pile the pressure on Norris in front, trying to close him up as best as possible. As Rosenqvist flicks it through the right-hander, using a lot of curb there on the left-hand side, as he will now approach the double left-hander on the track. And through he goes now then, out of the corner, going down the back straight towards the left-hander, the first corner of the support pit straight. And Norris still continuing to have quite a bit of a gap out in front at this stage. And so now flicking the car in he goes. And as mentioned, we will have a look in a little bit what the gap is like between Norris and Rosenqvist, and where Rosenqvist is closing up to the Brit at the moment. There's still quite a big gap between the pair at the moment. You just saw there Rosenqvist in the distance there of Lando Norris. So anything could still happen in this race, but we'll have to wait and see on that as we now head down the pit straight. And let's see now then what the gap is like between Rosenqvist and Norris as they start lap 19 of 29, 11 laps to go, including the one that they are on now then. So let's have a look and see what the gap is like between the pair of them. We are 14 minutes away now then from the 2 o'clock mark. Sorry, the 3 o'clock mark I should say. We've passed the 2 o'clock mark now then. As let's have a look then. It's 3.4 seconds. So it seemed that on the previous lap Rosenqvist lost time because of the lock-up, but it seems now he's gained it back and he's up in and is now back down to 3.4 seconds between the top two. So that's that then for them really. As meantime, let's see what's going on through the field at the moment. Giotto, as Nato just continues to lose time now to Mitch Evans. As a result, Giotto not close enough as he would have wanted to get onto the prow of Alex Lynn. So sorry, not Alex Lynn, Norman Nato at the moment, and so that's that really. As Nato's teammate, as mentioned, Norris still controlling the race out in front at the moment as he looks to get the first victory on the board for season 4, as he looks to try and win this championship if he can, after a very strong end to season 3 when he was part of Mars Grand Prix. As Norris now then out of the hairpin he will go, and he will now approach the double left-hander. Rosenqvist in second place, still trying everything he's got within his power to try and hunt that gap down. 3.4 seconds last time around, the gap between the top two at this stage. So with 11 laps gone, this is what the leaderboard looks like then, as we have 20 cars remaining in the race. Norris leads, Rosenqvist in second, Russell third, Gasly fourth, Stroll in fifth, De Vries in sixth, Evans seventh, with Nato eighth, Giotto ninth, Sorokin 10th, then it's Lynn 11th, Fenestras 12th, Razia 13th, Galile 14th, Masashita 15th, Tictum 16th, Ericsson 17th, Euricia 18th, Aura 19th, or Euro I should say, and Vips in 20th. The two retirements have been Jolyon Palmer and Mick Schumacher. Mick retired thanks to transmission problems, and Jolyon because of an engine failure. So that's why those two have retired earlier on, and as a result, that's why we've got 20 cars left in this feature race. And now let's see what the gap is like between the top two this time around. As they head down the pit straight, heading up towards turn 1 on the track. 10 laps remaining here at Sakhir as we now enter towards turn 1 on the track. Let's see what the gap is like anyway between these two. And the gap is now 3.6 seconds. So Norris is up the pace now by 0.2 of a second. Norris running quicker now out in front. And it seems that Rosenqvist I don't believe will have a response to Norris. I think unless something goes horribly wrong for the Brit, I think Lando has pretty much got this in the bag. And to get the first victory of season 4 out of the way. So that will be that for him really, as far as he will be concerned, as Nato exits out of that corner. Giotto now starting to lose time as a result to Nato, unable to catch him back up at this stage. And I think pretty much everybody now has separated themselves. There's not really that many battles happening on the track. Pretty much everybody's staying quiet at the moment, and it's kind of a shame really. This race has sort of died down in a way, And but sometimes that usually is the case with these drivers. They may want to cool themselves down and maybe try again in the sprint race tomorrow. We do have a sprint race for any newbies who are wondering. GP2 does have 2 races, unlike what GP4OC has. We have a feature race today, and tomorrow we have a sprint race. And the sprint race has less points available than what the feature race has. The feature race uses the same point system as the top class, except unlike the top class, it does have bonus points. 2 points for pole position, which is what Rosenqvist got yesterday, and 1 bonus point for the fastest lap, which I think so far Rosenqvist is currently holding on to, unless Norris has found some more time to post in another fastest lap. I think Rosenqvist is currently holding on to it. And also as well, tomorrow, as mentioned, the sprint race, it offers less points. First place receives 6 points, second place 5, third place 4, fourth place 3, fifth place 2, and sixth place 1, and a bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. There is no qualifying for that sprint race. There was back in season 1, but from season 2 onwards, there hasn't been a qualifying session. The grid for the sprint race gets determined by the results of the feature race, with the top 8 of this race getting reversed for tomorrow, as it looked like Rosenqvist had made a little bit of a mistake there coming out of the final corner. So at the moment, the sprint race, it's looking like this. Nato will be on pole position with Evans second, Vries third, Stroll in fourth, and then it'll be Gasly fifth, Russell sixth, Rosenqvist seventh, and then Norris in 8th position. And then from 9th onwards, they will just remain the same. So at the moment, it'll be Giotto 9th on the grid, with Sirotkin in 10th, and then Lin in 11th, Fenestraz 12th, Razia 13th, Galal 14th, Masashita 15th, Tictum 16th, Ericsson 17th, Eurisha in 18th, Euro 19th, and Phipps in 20th, with Palmer 21st and Schumacher 22nd, because they didn't finish and Palmer retired later on than what Schumacher did. So that's why Palmer will be ahead of Schumacher on the grid tomorrow. Schumacher will be starting in last place as a result of being the first retirement of the day, thanks to a transmission problem. And like the top class as well, these GP2 and GP3 will also have reruns as well of their qualifying and races as well, and they'll be up on YouTube as well. The qualifying for this session was uploaded at midnight yesterday, and of course the press conference was uploaded half an hour after the rerun of the GP2 qualifying session. You'll be getting 2 reruns tonight as well. One of the qualifying session from the top class a little earlier on, which saw Hamilton take pole, and then this one of the feature race here for GP2 here in Sakhir, which so far Norris looks like he's got this one in the bag, as he will now approach the left-hander on the track now then, and out the corner he will go now then, as he will approach the flat-out right-hander on the track. And now we approach the second to last corner now then. So now he heads down the back straight towards the final corner. And so Norris will be heading in towards the final corner. And he will then head down the pit straight. And so now Norris will head down towards turn 1, and we'll see anyway what the gap is like anyway between Rosenqvist and Norris. I think Norris is pulling away anyway, but we'll just double check that. Anyway, we're now on lap 22 of 29 here in Sakhir. We now have, specifically including this lap, 8 laps remaining here in this feature race. As now through the first few corners there then went Felix Rosenqvist. And there's Gasly currently 4th, and Stroll unable to catch up to Gasly at the moment. Gasly looking like he's going to be finishing a lonely 4th place in this race. As Nato now then pulling away quite a bit now from Luca Giotto. What's the gap between those two? Anyway, it's up to 2 seconds exactly, 2.1 seconds between Giotto and Sirotkin. So that's that really as far as they're concerned, as they will now approach the right-hander. As now Norris heading down the hill towards the left-hander on the track. And so now going through the chicane, Norris leading the race with Rosenqvist in second, Russell running out the top 3, and so far if it stays like this at the moment, Norris and unless Norris is set the fastest lap of the race, but I do believe it's Rosenqvist who's currently holding on to it. Both Rosenqvist and Norris will be tied at the top of the championship, but it will be Norris leading because he's had a victory, whereas Rosenqvist hasn't. So that will be that then as far as they're concerned, but it looks like Red Bull Ecademy will be taking the early lead in the Teams Championship, as it's been renamed, between as a result. So Russell and Rosenqvist looking like they're going to get the most points out of this race for Red Bull Academy. But having said that, looks like Gasly's starting to close up quite a bit now to Russell. Russell's just dropping back a lot more from teammate Rosenqvist, and Gasly trying to push as hard as he can to see if he can try it and grab that final podium place off the Brit in this race, as he will now approach the second to last corner. We'll have a look and see what the gap is like between Russell and Gasly in this race as we head down the back straight now. And you just saw Russell there just peep in front of Gasly there, and Gasly can sense a podium could be within his grasp in this race now then, as they approach the final corner now then, and onto the pit straight we will go. And let's have a look and see what the gap is like between Gasly and Russell in this race now then, as they head down the pit straight and across the line they will go. We're on lap 23 now, 29, 7 laps remaining in this feature race as we headed towards the final corner. Let's see what the gap is like. First corner now then on the track, and it is 2.9 seconds is the gap, so we'll keep an eye on that as best as possible as Gasly now then approaches the right-hander on the track. And so now around the final corner then goes Pierre, and now just flicking the car in, and the Ecademy now then, with its red and black livery this time, unlike the purple and white that we've seen in the past with a little bit of gold. This time it is black and red with a little bit of white this time around on the car. So a change to what they're used to, pretty much matching the colour scheme as their top class car, who, if you didn't see earlier, Lewis Hamilton managed to grab pole position for the top class tomorrow for the Bahrain Grand Prix, the 49 lap Grand Prix, which will be coming to you tomorrow at 2 PM BST, straight after the sprint race for IFMC GP2. As now a big lock up there from Gasly, pushing very hard to get Russell there, and well, that's we've seen quite a few lockups in this race, it must be said. A lot of people locking up in this race, trying to push as hard as possible to get the guy in front, and it just shows how quite competitive GP2 is. Although the race has sort of died down, you can definitely tell that these guys are having to work hard to get the overtakes done, just because, you know, there's no difference in cars. It's all the same cars. It's just down to the talent of the driver to get them up to the position they need to be, and that's all it counts really in IFMC GP2. And all these guys are doing everything they can to impress a top class team to possibly put them in a Grand Prix car in the future in IFMC to racing. And so that's that then really, as Gasly head down the back straight towards the final corner, and see what Pierre will be able to do on this lap then. Last time around it was 2.9 seconds. I wouldn't be surprised if that time has dropped off a little bit because of the lockup he sustained on the previous lap. And across the line he will go now then, and let's see what the gap is like. It is now, if I look at it, it is now as they head in towards turn 1. I start to fear whether about the fuel load of Gasly a little bit there. He's only down to 6.9 litres at this stage. 3.3 seconds is the gap. Russell increased it by a little bit more there in the race, and I start to worry about Russell's fuel load in a way. And Gasly's fuel load, sorry, and maybe even Russell's as well, because they both pitted around about the same time as each other. So I start to worry about them a little bit, because it is a 29 lap race and they've only got 6.7 litres left in their wagon. So I start to worry a little bit about Russell and Gasly's fuel loads at this stage of the race, with that amount of fuel they've got left. And but we'll wait and see on that anyway. Norris now then, around the right-hander he will go, and now then heading down towards the double left-hander on the track. And Norris now then heading out of that corner now then, as they head down the back straight now then towards the left-hander. And so there's Pierre Gasly trying his best to close up onto Russell at this stage in this battle for third place at the moment in this race, as they now approach the left-hander, as the two GRMs are looking back for company at this stage of the race, as Lynn tries to hunt down Sirotkin if he can, as they just go through the left-hander, as Lynn tries to get within the slipstream of Sergey in this race as they will now approach the left-hander. And as Lynn will try and grab 10th if he can off the Russian at this stage. And that's that really at the moment in this race, as we're on lap 25 now, 29, as we now have, including this lap, 5 laps remaining in the race. So in fact they might just have enough actually. I must have just got a calculation wrong there. 5 laps remaining. I think Gasly and Russell should have enough to get to the end of the race anyway, but we will wait and see on that. But then again, I am still a little bit worried because it says 5.7. How much fuel will they have by the end of the race? That's what I question. Yeah, quite a bit worrying there for Gasly and Russell. Whether they need to make another stop by the end of the race, I do not know. But nice now then. Heading out of that corner now then, through the right hand he will go. As we're now at the 3 o'clock mark now then in this race, as Norris heads down the hill towards the left-hander. And so that's that really. Nice through the right and then the left-hander he will go. And now up towards the hairpin then goes Lando Norris. And so that's that at the present moment, as Russell heads out of that corner now then. So that's that really at the moment. There's Yuri Vips currently in 20th, looking very low in the moment as he's now losing touch to Lucas Jura. As Jura losing time to Eurisia, who at the same time is trying to close up onto Joel Eriksson in front of him at the moment. So it looks like there could be a bit of a battle happening down there at the moment, as Norris now then flicking the car through the right-hander up towards the second to last corner he will go, as they now head down the back straight towards the final corner. And I think everybody's fuel low is probably going to be a little bit worrying. I wonder if maybe we'll be seeing one more pit stop being done in this race, but we will wait and see on that as Norris heads down the pit straight now then. And Rosenqvist currently in second place at the present moment, and we have four laps now remaining in this race. So that's that really. 4 laps remaining here in 4 laps now remaining in this race now then, as Russell heads through in towards turn 2, currently 3rd, Gasly 4th, Stroll 5th, De Vries 6th, Evans 7th, with Nato running at the top 8 at the moment. Giotto unable to close up. We have 4 laps now remaining here in Sakhir for this feature race, and things, as mentioned a little earlier, have started to calm down just a little bit in this race now then, as we head through in towards turn 2 on the track now then, and through towards turn 3. And so that's that really. Is now here is Lando Norris heading down towards the left-hander. And so Norris leads at this stage, and with quite a big gap at the front at the moment, in front of trying to think of his name, Felix Rosenqvist at this stage, as they will now head up towards the double left-hander on the track. And so out of that left-hander we will go now then on the track. Norris heading down the back straight now then towards the left-hander, and still leading the race at the moment, trying to get to the first victory on the board, and so far things looking to be going his way at this stage. So but we will wait and see. Anything can happen in racing, and it usually does. Norris flicking the car through the second to last corner now then, as he gets down the back straight now then towards the final corner, as the sparks come off the back of his Lightbase Sony racing car at this stage now then. Out of the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Lando Norris, and he will then cross the line to start lap 27 of 29. 3 laps remaining now then here in Sakhir, and another 7 Sony Lightbase Sony racing car doing a stunning job. Will be double points anyway for Lightbase Sony racing, albeit Nato down in P8 at the moment, and he looks like he will be grabbing pole position for tomorrow's sprint race. So it could even be 2 out of 2 victories for Lightbase Sony racing tomorrow. we'll have to wait and see on that as they now head down the back straight now then towards the first few corners on the track. And so that's that really as we head in towards the first corner on the track. Nato currently in 8th place at this stage now then as he goes in towards turn 1. And so that's that really at this stage. And so Lucas Joa then round the final corner he will go. He's currently in 19th place, just in front of Yuri Vips. Remember, only 20 cars now remaining in this race. Of course, earlier on, Mick Schumacher retired thanks to a transmission problem, and an engine failure took care of Jolyon Palmer's race. So that ended his hopes of possibly trying to get into the points for Below's Grand Prix after what had been a tricky qualifying session for both Jolyon and Louis. And so that was that really as far as they were concerned, as they now go through the double left-hander as they now head down the back straight now then towards the left-hander. And Rosenqvist currently in 2nd place at this stage of the race. Through he goes then around the left-hander there then, as he's currently lying 2nd in this race now then, as Rosenqvist goes through the penultimate corner as they now head down the back straight now then. Norris comes up towards the final corner. He will start his penultimate lap of the race, and so that will be that then. Norris then on his penultimate lap of the race here in Sakhir as he starts lap 28 of 29 here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Norris heading down towards turn 1. A big lockup there for Norris. That's the 2nd time we've seen him do a lockup in this race. Again, we've seen quite a lot of this during the race as well. Lockups galore in this race, and well, it seems that braking is also quite an issue around here at Sakhir. So that's pretty much that really. And I think Gasly and Russell just have enough to get to the end of the race, but they've clearly made their strategy enable them to go really tight when it comes to fuel in this rate. We know that fuel consumption is quite a key around this track, and the fuel can wear off quite quickly around here in Sakhir. And it's been the same thing for the IFMC GP2 guys as well, especially in the sprint race. And considering they've not got to make a mandatory pit stop, they've got to decide what's the right amount of fuel to carry in this what is a 2-minute lap, racetrack for the GP2 guys, and the top guys only just going under that 2-minute mark. As now out of the hairpin we will go as we head in towards the double left-hander. And Norris now then still leading the race at this stage. He'll soon be starting his final lap very soon. And now he will approach the left-hander as he continues to lead the race out in front now then. Around the right-hander then goes Lando Norris as he will now approach the 2nd to last corner, as he just has dominated the race since he took the lead at the start, although Russell tried to get it a little earlier on, and Norris denied that into the final corner by diving it down the inside to retake the lead as the sparks continue to come off the back of his Lightbase Sony racing car. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight it goes, and Lando Norris is about to start his final lap here in Sakhir. It's been a brilliant race for the young Brit. He started in 2nd place, got the lead at the start, and from that point on, he although he lost it temporarily on the first lap, he was able to get it back into the last corner, and then since then, nothing has been able to come close to Lando. Not even the Red Bull Ecademy guys or even Pierre Gasly could get close to this man, and he's looking good to get victory here in Bahrain and get the first victory of Season 4 on the board, and it has just been a fantastic race for Lando as a result in his first outing as a Lightbase Sony racing driver. And whether Russell and Pierre will have enough left, we'll have to wait and see. I believe they will, but we will wait and see on that. They have left it quite tight, it must be said, with the fuel. And but I will keep an eye on it for you up towards the 2nd to last corner, because around about the double left-hander, I should say. and see how much fuel they'll have up to that point, and then I can work out whether they'll have enough, judging from the previous pit stops that we've had in this race now then, as Russell heads down the hill, as they'll go up towards the left-hander on the track. Out of the left-hander he will go, through the corner now then, and then we'll go up towards the hairpin as we ride into the cockpit of George Russell. And at the same time, Pierre Gasly looks like he's settled for fourth at this stage. He can't challenge Russell at this stage. And judging by the amount of fuel, I think Russell and Gasly will just have enough to get to the end. Judging from what I saw from Norris on the previous stint, he had around about the same amount of fuel before he made his stop. So I think Russell and Gasly will just have enough to just get the car towards the end of the race and then probably just pull off after the race has finished. Alex Lynn is out of the race. What's happened to Alex Lynn? Did he have fuel problems? Where is he on the track? And no, it was suspension failure. We know he was, well, actually, no, he wasn't tight on the fuel. But suspension failure on the final lap for Alex Lynn. And he is out of the race, and we're down to 19 runners. He will finish anyway. He will be classified as a finisher because he did complete 90% of the race distance. But suspension failure is taking care of him on the last lap in his first outing for Panasonic Makama Motorsport. The team rebranding as a South African team. But meantime, here is Lando Norris in the Lightbase Sony racing car. He has done a fantastic job here in the Lightbase Sony racing car. Up towards the final corner we go, and it's just been a brilliant race from the young man from Bristol. Down the pit straight, and it is going to be Lando Norris who wins the feature race here in Bahrain. Congratulations to him and the Lightbase Sony Racing team. A fantastic race for him. He even set the fast lap of the race on the last lap as well, and he gets that bonus point in the end. Lando Norris wins. Felix Rosenqvist finishes in second. George Russell had enough in the end to finish in third. Pierre Gasly is going to cross the line in fourth. Lance Stroll is going to cross the line fifth. Nyck de Vries will be in sixth, making it a double points finish for GRM Junior after what had been a tricky season for them last season as well. Stroll fifth, de Vries in sixth. Evans is going to cross the line in seventh place in the end. Nato will finish in eighth. He'll be on pole position for tomorrow's sprint race as a result. He rounds out the points in eighth place. Giotto will cross the line in ninth. Sirotkin is going to cross the line in 10th. Fenestraz will cross the line in 11th as a result of Alex Lynn's suspension failure on the final lap. Fenestraz finishes in 11th. Razia will cross the line in 12th. It's Galile 13th. Masushita, his teammate, will cross the line in 14th position. Tickton will cross the line 15th in the RSPCA racing car. It'll be Joel Eriksson in 16th. Santiago Urishia will cross the line 17th. Lucas Jora will finish in 18th, and Yuri Vips will cross the line 19th, with Lynn classified in 20th, and of course Palmer and Schumacher retiring a little bit earlier on. And Vips now then cross the line to finish off the race, and there you have it then. So in the end, Lando Norris won the race, and he even runs out of fuel as well in the end. But Norris is the winner here in Bahrain, and a fully deserved one for him as well. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here was the results of the feature race here in Sakhir. Lando Norris won the race with Felix Rosenqvist in second. George Russell finished in third, with Pierre Gasly fourth. Lance Stroll in fifth, with Nyck de Vries sixth. Mitch Evans seventh. Norman Nato rounding out the points in eighth. Luca Giotto ninth. Sergei Sirotkin 10th. Sacha Fenestraz 11th. Louis Razia 12th. Sean Galile 13th. Nobahara Masushita 14th. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, it is Dan Ticktum in 15th, Joel Eriksson 16th, Santiago Urishia 17th, Lucas Jora 18th, Yuri Vips in 19th, Alex Lynn was classified in 20th, and the two retirements, of course, being Jolyon Palmer and Mick Schumacher. They were the retirements of the race. So let's see who set the fastest lap of the race. He's going to go with the bonus point. I believe it was Lando Norris, and it was Lando Norris with a 2 minute 6.935. He, along with the 10 points that he got for the victory, will get the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. So in total, he gets 11 points by the end of the race. He was 600ths quicker in the end than the man who eventually finished in second, Felix Rosenqvist. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for the feature race here in Bahrain. It's been an okay race. It's not been the best one, but it has been a very good race to watch nonetheless, and a fully deserved victory for Lando Norris. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you enjoyed it. That has been the end for today's live stream. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at 1 PM BST for the sprint race for IFMC GP2, which will see Norman Nato on pole, and the 49-lap Bahrain Grand Prix, which sees Lewis Hamilton on pole position for that race. But anyway, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. The podium for IFMC GP2 is coming your way just after this. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the sprint race and the 49-lap Bahrain Grand Prix. Until then, take care and enjoy the GP2 podium.